If you love learning bridge strategy through real game stories, hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
Today, we're going to unpack a story that, honestly, is less about playing cards and more about cracking a secret code. It's about a hidden conversation that happened right out in the open, leading to one of the most amazing feats in bridge, a grand slam.
Okay, so picture this scene. The game's over, the cards are all on the table, and our two players, Alice and Michael, have just pulled off something that seemed impossible. They've left their opponents, well, just completely speechless. And this is what that moment looks like on a score sheet. Now, if you don't play bridge, all you need to know is that this is a huge score. It's a perfect result. But really, the story isn't about the points they won. It's about how on earth they did it. See, the real magic here, it didn't happen during the card play. Nope, it happened before, in the bidding. What looked like just a normal auction was actually a silent, coded conversation. A conversation where one partner described their entire hand to the other without them ever seeing a single card.
I mean, this is the big question in any partnership game, right? You're supposed to be a team, but you're working with only half the information. How can you make these huge, confident bids when you're basically flying blind?
And this is the key to the whole thing. The tool they used is called the KK relay system. Now, I want you to think of this less like bidding and more like a structured interrogation. Seriously, one player acts as the captain, asking these super specific questions, and the other player gives these precise, coded answers. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to become code breakers.
So think about this for a second. How do you have a flawless, detailed conversation with your partner about the cards you're holding when all you can use are a few very specific coded bids? That's the puzzle. And the answer, well, it's surprisingly elegant. See, the whole thing works because at its heart, this secret language isn't really a conversation at all. It's a super structured question and answer game. It's less like talking and more like a carefully choreographed dance. And this game has a name. It's called a relay system. What's so cool about it is how it sets up the rules. One player becomes the captain, and they just ask questions using the cheapest bits possible. The other player, the responder, then gives these incredibly precise, pre-planned answers. It's like a high-stakes game of 20 questions, where every single answer is just packed with meaning. And the dynamic, the rhythm of it, is this simple. Step 1, the captain asks. Step 2, the responder answers. That's it. It's this constant back and forth. Ask, answer, ask, answer. And that's the engine that builds this complete, perfect picture of both hands, one little piece at a time. So, what's the first thing these players need to know? You might think it's about the aces or the kings, right? Nope. The very first layer of this code is all about drawing a blueprint of the hand. It's about getting the structure down first. And this gets to the core philosophy of the whole system. Shape first, strength later. Before you even start talking about how powerful your cards are, you have to know the pattern. How many cards in each suit? Is it a balanced hand, or do you have a really long, powerful suit somewhere? That structure, that shape, is everything. It dictates the entire game plan. Okay, so where does this whole interrogation begin? I mean, with 13 cards, there are literally billions of possible hands. The genius of KK Relay is that it first sorts every single one of those possibilities into just 5 fundamental categories, or, as they call them, shape families. That's it, just 5. The entire universe of possible hands gets organized into these 5 starting points. It's an incredible simplification, really. Before you know anything about aces or kings or specific suits, the very first goal is to just figure out which of these 5 families the hand belongs to. And here they are. Is the hand balanced, with cards spread pretty evenly, or is it dominated by one really long suit? Does it have 2 long suits, or is it what's called a 3-suiter, where you've got cards in 3 different suits, which usually means you have a singleton, a suit with only 1 card in it? The very first answer your partner gives will place their hand into one of these buckets. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's actually see how this works. We're going to walk through a really simplified conversation to see this Q&A process in action. It's kind of like watching 2 spies exchange coded messages right out in the open. So the bidding starts. The opener bids 1 club, their partner, the responder, bids 1 spade. So far, so good. This just kind of sets the stage. But now, the real interrogation is about to begin. Okay, so the opener's next bid is the relay. It's an artificial bid, it's just a prompt. They're basically saying, okay, I got your first signal, now start telling me about your hand's basic shape. This is where the magic really starts. And this quote just nails the concept. You can't really understand the traffic signals if you don't have the map first. The shape of the hand gives you the context, the literal landscape where all the high cards are located. And this connection is absolutely everything. Once you know the hand's geography, like that 4-4-1-4 shape we just saw, you know there's a one-card suit. Well, that road's closed. You don't need to waste time asking about high cards there. So the captain just checks the open roads, asking about the top cards suit by suit. A bid might ask, do you have an ace or king here? And a simple yes or no answer is coded in the response. By denying strength in one place, you confirm it somewhere else. It's just this incredibly efficient process of elimination. So how do they actually communicate that shape? Well, they use something called a bidding ladder. Imagine climbing a staircase of bids. The captain just makes these simple, repeating relay bids, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds. And with each one, the responder just takes one step up the ladder. And each step reveals a tiny bit more about their hand's shape until, bam, a bid like 3 clubs locks in the exact pattern. The blueprint is now crystal clear. All right, so once that blueprint is locked in, it's time to add the second layer. Now that we know the shape, we can start counting the power. We're moving from the architectural plans to the actual building blocks. But here's the thing. They don't count points the way most players do. This system uses a much more direct, much cleaner measure of power. It's called a control count. The idea is simple. Just focus on the top cards that are guaranteed to take tricks. It's all about raw, undeniable power. And it is so incredibly simple. Ready for this? An ace is worth 2 controls. And a king is worth 1 control. That's it. Seriously. With just those 2 little numbers, a player can communicate the absolute top-tier strength of their hand with unbelievable efficiency. And these simple counts immediately tell the captain exactly what's possible. You have 0 to 2 controls? Okay, we're probably not going very far. But you have 3 controls, all of a sudden a slam that's winning 12 of the 13 tricks is a real possibility. And 4 or more? Whoa, that signals a super constructive hand, and now the partnership is thinking really, really big. So they know the shape, they know the overall power, but there's one more piece to this puzzle. And honestly, this is where the system gets truly, truly brilliant. It's time for the final scan, the masterstroke that ties the whole thing together. Now get ready for this because it's a total paradigm shift. In normal bidding, you show your partner what you have, right? You bid the suit where you have an ace. But with denial Q bidding, or DCB, you do the exact opposite. You bid the first suit where you don't have a key card. It's completely backward, but it's absolutely genius. So why on earth does that work? Because by showing what's missing, you automatically reveal everything that's there. Think about it. If the captain asks about your key cards and you skip right past bidding clubs and diamonds to bid hearts, you've just said everything. You've said, yep, I've got the key cards and clubs and diamonds, but the first place I have a gap is in hearts. In one single bid, you've confirmed 2 suits and denied a third. It is the absolute ultimate in efficiency. Okay, so let's put all of these layers together now. Let's look at the ultimate goal of this entire intricate coded conversation. And that goal is one thing: total precision. It's not about finding a good contract. It's about finding the one single perfect contract. So here it is, the entire flow of the system. First, you establish the shape using that relay ladder. Then, you determine the strength with that simple control count. And finally, you pinpoint every single key card using that ridiculously clever denial scan. It's a 3-step process to get to what is basically perfect information. It's logical, it's powerful, and it's just beautiful. And don't just take my word for it. The system's creators, Kit Woolsey and Karen McCallum, said it best themselves. Its goal is maximum slam precision. This system was built from the ground up to systematically find those incredibly elusive high-scoring slam contracts. It's about turning a game of guesses and inferences into a pure science of communication. You know, when you see it all laid out like that, you realize this isn't just a game. It's a language, a complex, beautiful, and incredibly powerful system of communication, all built on pure logic and trust. Which kind of makes you wonder, what other hidden languages are all around us, just waiting to be deciphered? What other codes are we not even seeing yet?
Okay, so theory time is over. Let's head back to the Bridge Biscotti Club and see how this actually plays out in the real world. Let's walk through this interrogation step by step and see exactly how Alice was able to build a complete mental picture of Michael's hand, one bid at a time.
All right, so this interrogation happens in 4 main phases. First up is shape discovery, where Alice figures out the basic layout of Michael's hand. Then she moves to control inquiry, asking about his top cards, his aces and kings. After that, she pinpoints their exact location. And finally, she does a quick check for any key queens.
So let's look at that first phase. Alice kicks things off with a strong opening bid. Michael's response of 1 no trump. That's the code for, "Okay, Captain, I'm ready. Let the interrogation begin." What happens next is this quick back and forth until Alice bids 3 hearts. That's her signal that she's done with this phase. She knows the shape.
And get this, just from that short exchange, Alice knows Michael's exact hand distribution. He has a single spade and 4 cards each in hearts, diamonds, and clubs. I mean, think about that. All the guesswork about the hand structure is just gone. She has a perfect blueprint. Okay, on to phase 2. Now that Alice knows the shape, she asks her next question with the bid 3 spades. How many controls do you have? In this system, an ace is worth 2 points and a king is 1. Michael's answer of 4 hearts isn't about the heart suit. It's another code that says, I have exactly 5 control points.
And here's the crucial part. With that answer, Alice knows for a fact that Michael is holding 2 aces and 1 king. Just let that sink in for a second. She knows the exact shape of his hand, and she knows the specific high cards he's holding. All of a sudden, a grand slam doesn't just seem possible, it seems very, very likely. But just knowing the number of aces isn't quite enough for this. A lot of players use a method that just asks how many aces you have. But this system they're using, it's way more advanced. It doesn't ask how many, it asks where, specifically, those aces and kings are located. That's the key difference.
And here's how it works. Alice's 4-spade bid starts a scan, suit by suit. Michael's response of 5 clubs is yet another code. It tells Alice that the first key card he has in a specific agreed-upon order is the king of hearts. So she's not just mapping out the territory anymore, she's putting the treasure right on the map.
The final phase is a quick one they call Queensland, and it's just a scan for any important queens. After that last little exchange, the interrogation is over. Every single critical piece of information has been transmitted. To Alice, Michael's hand is now completely visible, as if it were face-up on the table. So, after all that decoding, after that entire interrogation, what was the final picture? Let's put all those puzzle pieces together and actually see the 2 hands that Alice could now visualize with perfect clarity. And there they are. On the left, you have Alice's hand, the captain. And on the right, that's the hand Michael described to her, piece by piece, through that incredible coded conversation. Just look at how perfectly they fit together. Every high card is covered, there are absolutely no weak spots.
And once you can see both hands like this, the rest is just simple arithmetic. Alice and Michael could confidently count up the tricks, the rounds they could win. 5 in spades, 3 in hearts, 4 in diamonds, 1 in clubs. That adds up to 13. Every single trick. A perfect, unstoppable grand slam.
So you might be thinking, why go through all that trouble? Why learn such a complicated, demanding system? Well, it all comes down to one thing: gaining a massive strategic advantage by taking uncertainty completely out of the equation. What's so powerful about a relay system is that it just eliminates all the guesswork. It lets you find out not just if a small slam is possible, but if a grand slam is a sure thing. It literally transforms bidding from an art, full of hunches and educated guesses, into a precise, logical science.
As Robert, another player at the table, said so perfectly, this is the deep end of the pool. It's really complex, sure, and it's incredibly challenging, but it's also where the game of bridge shows you its true depth and its almost mathematical beauty.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. At the end of the day, this was a story about a card game, but it was really a story about perfect communication. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world so full of miscommunication, what else could we achieve if our most important conversations could be this clear, this precise, and this effective?
Subscribe our channel for more videos.